Alright, we're back now after having flat batteries and memory card problems. We've finished to do the plan view, and I've used edge referenced stack dimensioning on the vertical axis and on the horizontal axis, because I know that I need to fit another view down below this matched up with the fold lines. I didn't want to take any extra space on the paper than was necessary, so I've used edge referenced superimposed running dimensioning along here. Quite neat. I've used guidelines for each dimension. Now over here, I'll just see if I can get a bit closer to that. Be careful, this is at 2:1 scale, but although the dimensions are 2 times what the final fabrication will be, the actual dimensions that we write against the drawing are done at 1:1 scale, normal scale. So where I had to measure up here 47 millimeters, that's actually written at 23.5, and that is the amount which is going to be transferred across onto the galvanized metal when we do the fabrication. And again, 69 millimeters I measured up here, but 34.5 millimeters is the amount that we measure up on the piece of galvanized metal. So along here, done correctly, 25, 59.5, 100, but of course that is a 200 millimeter line along there. 200 millimeters from there to there, but of course marked at 100, because on the final fabrication, which is 1:1 scale, that's going to be only 100. 2:1 enlarges the whole drawing so that we can see more of the information on the drawing. So now it's time to think about doing the folded section, and I've got the space down on the bottom of the drawing for that. Again, using the T-square and coming down. Leave myself plenty of space here because I need to think about the other end. Now the other end, the fold is going to be, let's see, 40, 63.5, so so we have to be careful with the other end. It's going to be 127 millimeters high. That's 63.5 in the fabrication, but done at 2:1, which is 127 millimeters. So putting that on the drawing, the other side is going to be 50 millimeters high. And then we need to think about where the cutout goes, the circle. I'll mark that. I'll put a small dash there, and then long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. And that of course matches up with the cutout detail up here, which I need to get the compass yet and draw that circle in place. Once I've done that, I can put the sides of that circle down here. So I'll get the compass and I'll go ahead and do that now. Hayden, you're dreaming. The circle that we need to do on the drawing at 2:1 is going to be 40 millimeters wide. So in this case I need to set the compass to a radius of 20 millimeters. So do that here neatly on the ruler, and then into the center reference area there, and then I can do that. Being very careful using the compass not to put too much pressure on it, and spreading it as it moves around and making a horrible mess on the page. So it's better to go over the circle a few times, and instead of doing it really hard the first time. Always better anyway to start off soft, because just in case you make a mistake with something on the page. Alright, so there's that circle done. and coming down from that I can do the mark out on the front elevation, and I should ideally be using a 45-degree set square for this dimension, but I'll use this 30-degree one in lieu of having the 45, and we can put a bit of a dimension on this, and that is 20mm hole, so 20mm hole. So it's getting there. Now we have the folded ends on the drawing. That has to be erased yet. I'll have to get an eraser and take that off. Over here we need to do an inset at 1:1 for the end view. Alright, now that we've done the major features on the drawing, it's time to come down and do the inset, which is the end view done at 1:1 on this front page. So that's going to be 51.5mm wide. So I'll just put a bit of a reference line on there, and then I can, with the T-square, I can mark that out. 51.5. This is done at 1:1. 2:1 certainly won't fit. 63.5 high. 63.5 high. Now, I'm not going to do this terribly hard because I have to think about the cutout, which is also in the end of that. So I'm just going to do soft lines to start with. 63.5. Up with the T-square. Across here again lightly. Now, I've got a cutout to work with, and when we're looking at the end of the project, we're looking in this way here. So this cutout on the right hand end is going to be here, and the cutout is 23.5mm square. So I need to do a 23.5 there, and I need to do a 23.5 down here. 23.5 there. And there's our cutout again, just lightly. And then after I've got exactly what I want, then I'll make the lines a bit harder. So I'm happy with that, so I'll go ahead and harden some of these lines up. And then I can erase the construction lines. So I don't know how many times I've said it, but working with the T-square, keeping the pressure on the side board with the T-square, and moving around with the T-square and the set square enables me to do a very fast drawing and a very accurate drawing as well. That of course will be erased, and this is done at 1:1, so I'll label this as an inset at 1:1. Scale. One, two, one, and yeah, I could do a bit of a border box around that, but I don't really think it's necessary. We might just label what the view is though, and that is the right hand end view. Right hand end. We need to label what this one is. This is the front.
Oh, okay.
and we need to label this as being the top. Top view. So we're getting very close to being finished on the drawing now. Got all the main things. We've got the top view done, fully dimensioned with superimposed running dimensioning along the bottom. I have some construction lines at various points to rub out. Edge referenced from the left-hand corner of the top view. I've got edge reference stacked dimensioning in the vertical coordinate there. The front view, I've mapped out the centre line for where that circle goes. I have another piece of line here that needs to be erased. I've got the name box done, I've got the scale, GAL project, Western Sydney Institute, Mount Druitt TAFE. Remember what I said about being careful with the lettering. If you think before you write, you won't have the problem of what I encountered here. And be careful also if you're using stacked dimensioning, don't put yourself too close to the edge of a drawing. This probably would have been better, of course, with superimposed running dimensioning up here, but a very good exercise to demonstrate where you'd be better off to use that type of dimensioning. Now, on the second sheet, I'll do the isometric view of this project. So that's the first page done. If you know what you're doing, it doesn't take very long to draw at all.